Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills. Today is July 7th. We had the market trading lower here. Let's turn over to the grain hedge trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn trading down 1 3/4 cents, soybeans down 28.5 cents, and wheat in Chicago here down 11 1/4 cents on the day. Now there is a few things that were moving us lower. I think in particular was crop conditions. We're going to get into that. Those numbers were released after the market closed yesterday. I believe they drove trade here today. But before we get into that, there was a few headlines here that came out later on in the trade day. Egypt's gas is seeking cargoes of 55 to 60,000 metric tons of U.S. wheat or winter wheat, Ukrainian milling wheat, Russian milling wheat, really any of those. So there is a tender out there for some Egyptian wheat. It's going to be interesting to see who that goes to. Of course, the U.S., though we may issue an offer there, we most likely are not going to receive it. The U.S. dollar was trading sharply higher here on the day, but it'll be interesting to see where we are in terms of overall competitiveness in the U.S. Now, we did get export inspections out yesterday during the trade. We saw corn inspections lower than analysts were expecting, coming in at 839,000 metric tons compared to expectations, which range from 850 to 1 million metric tons. So a little bit disappointing there. Soybeans, we did see 197,000 metric tons inspected for export. That fell within analyst expectations, and wheat came in within analyst expectations as well, with 368,000 metric tons. Now, the crop conditions report, which is really what I think triggered the market moving lower here. Of course, we got an exceptional amount of rain last week. We continued to get rain throughout Missouri. Basically, all of this, there was an anticipation here that crop conditions were going to slip again this week. That just simply wasn't the case. We saw corn conditions rated good to excellent, improved 1% this week to 69% rated good to excellent. Last week they were 68% good to excellent. So with that, along with some of the forecasts, which we're going to get into, I think that really that provided a little bit of an opportunity for people that were putting longs on or have been riding these longs up for the last few weeks to basically take some positions off here. So when you look at soybeans planted, you'll notice that we did make some planting progress here, going from 94% complete to 96% complete. Unfortunately, the amount of rain in Missouri here really kept a lot of the planting pace from being completed. We went from 62% in Missouri to 73% planted in Missouri over last week. It looks as though this week we're going to continue to get a saturated Missouri, so unlikely to see any sort of planting pace, any sort of significant improvement in planting pace this next week. When you look at the soybean conditions, though, we were unchanged, good to excellent, right around 63% here. So that was a surprise. Analysts were expecting to see good to excellent ratings for soybeans pulled back. We didn't see that. So with that being the case, I think we saw a little bit of people unloading some of those long positions. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback in this rally that we've seen that has driven prices up over the last 3 weeks. Winter wheat harvest did improve here last week, improved up to 55% harvested. Normally we see around 59% harvested, so we are right about on track with where we typically are, about 4% behind, but that is not a huge deal. Now let's look at this week's weather outlook. You'll notice that it's going to be cooler than normal throughout most of the Midwest up until Friday. Over the weekend we should have a little bit above normal temperatures move throughout the Midwest, but keep in mind here, look at the rain. You'll notice large belts of rain here moving throughout the Midwest throughout the week. The areas of Missouri, areas of Nebraska, or eastern part of Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, these are all areas that should be receiving additional rains here. Actually, Nebraska in general will not, but the very eastern part of it should receive a little bit above average rains here. Looks as though severe storms, heavy rainfall targeting Oklahoma, Missouri, and Midwest early this week. Flooding will continue, and that will be a problem for those areas. Now, when you look out on the forecast next week, it looks as though cooler than average temperatures, and it looks as though the heavy rains are going to start to die down. Missouri is going to start to get some clear outlook there. So the rains are going to start to dry up. The eastern part of the grain belt, Indiana, Ohio, will likely continue to get precipitation here. So those areas are going to continue to be a concern for us, but Missouri finally starting to clear up here in next week's outlook here for the weather. Other than that, guys, that wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what we talked about, please give the office a call. Number is 877-472-4607. Remember, there is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, and futures trading is not appropriate for all investors. You can read our full risk disclosure at grainhedge.com. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here Wednesday. We'll have the ethanol report out, and we'll talk about export sales expectations. Thanks a lot for tuning in. See you here Wednesday.